Hey YouTube, it's the skiing goalie, and my season has just drawn to a close a couple weeks ago, and so I thought I'd make a video for you guys on how I clean my mask. Used a couple of cleaning agents through the year, just a smelling good spray and a disinfectant, and unfortunately all they do is delay the inevitable, and as a result I still have mold in my mask, particularly the back plate, as you guys can see. And I'm just going to show you guys the way that I've cleaned it for the past 3 years, and it's worked great every time, and hopefully it would work just as well for you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take apart the mask. I'm using different techniques to clean different parts of the mask, and I just don't want them getting in the way of one another mixed up, so I find it works the best if I just take apart the mask. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, YouTube, first off I'm going to show you how to clean the cage. So what you're going to need is a bowl that is bigger than your cage, and Coca-Cola. And I have tried this before, I assure you it works. This mask, or this cage I should say, I've only used it for a year, so it isn't particularly rusty, but I will show you just for demonstrational purposes. It does work very well. I had a rusty cage last year and it worked great. So all you're going to do, stick your cage in the bowl, take your Coke, pour it in. It's pretty simple and it works very well. Alright, so I've used 5 cans of Coke now. I have probably 3/4 submerged my cage. It's a pretty wide cage, so it's going to be tough to get it all submerged. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave it for a day or so, just to really break down the rust. Then what I'm going to do is after a day, I'm just going to take the cage, flip it around. So I'm going to get each side submerged after another day. I'm going to flip it around again. Get that side submerged. And leaving it like that will cover all parts of your cage, and it will be nice and clean after a few days. I'm also going to add that you can add any other sort of metal parts on your mask, like the screws that I have right here from my cage, and there's also other screws that hold the lining in. I'm not going to take those out right now because it's a big pain to put them back in. But yeah, you can take any sort of metal parts you want clean on your mask, and you also put them in the Coke with the cage. It works really well. Now I'm going to focus on the outer shell of your mask. This technique is good for getting rid of any sort of scuffs or marks you have. Puck marks aren't amazing in terms of having to get them off the mask. It's pretty tough to do that in most cases. So this is more just little scuffs, that sort of thing. So my mask has a few marks. I'm sure you can't see them just because of the distance of the camera, but there are a few marks, and all you do with this is it's the same concept as a window. You're just going to need Windex, paper towel, and you're just going to Windex the mask down pretty much. So Windex, paper towel, and you're going to apply it. Cleaning your dangler is the same concept as the shell of the mask. You're just going to take Windex and paper towel. It doesn't get rid of all the scuff marks or cloudiness. If you're looking for a perfectly clean dangler, you're going to have to buy a new one. But I find this way works really well. It gets rid of a decent amount of the cloudiness and scuffs, and your dangler looks pretty good after that. So, same concept. I'm going to show you how I clean the inside of my mask. As you can see, there is a fair bit of mold in there. You probably can't see it that well with the camera. But what you're going to do with this is you're going to make a solution of water, warm water, and household vinegar. Just any sort of typical vinegar you have in your house, it should work. So what you're going to do is you're going to mix 3 parts vinegar, 2 parts water, which basically means if you have 3 cups of vinegar, you're going to want to put in 2 cups of water, 3 liters of vinegar, 2 cups of water, so on and so forth. So what you're going to want to do with this solution is I just have a rag here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dip it in, drain it just slightly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it down, but I'm going to want to leave a lot of vinegar on, because what happens is I'm going to leave it for a while, and that will be the time when the killing of the vinegar takes place. So I'm just going to make sure there is a good amount of vinegar on this, and you're going to want to scrub a bit just to loosen it up a bit, but the main thing you need to remember is just to leave a good amount on. So now that I have a fairly solid amount of vinegar on here, I'm just going to move on to my mask. So now I've completely wiped down both my mask and back plate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it to a dry place where it can dry. And so I would leave it for a few days at best. It actually only takes around a couple of hours, but if you really want it nice and dry, I would leave it for a day or so. If this doesn't work, try it again. It will work eventually. You should see at least minor progress going on. If you really feel like you need an extreme mold removal, what I would do is I would actually soak it like the cage. This does work also. I'm just doing a more minor version because I don't have a lot of mold. So it's the same idea as the Coca-Cola on the cage, where you're going to want to clean the inside, but you're just going to want to let it soak instead, and that will kill the mold much faster and much more effectively, but it will leave more of a smell on your mask. Thanks for watching. I hope these tips work out just as well for you as they did for me. As you can see, all the mold off my back plate is gone, as well as all the other techniques I used worked very well. So please remember to like and comment, and I will be having a contest upcoming with some real-life hockey and skiing prizes for all my subscribers, so please remember to subscribe too. Thanks, YouTube.